Welcome back to our channel, where we delve into the most perplexing and heart-wrenching true crime stories. Today we explore the tragic case of Caylee Anthony, a story that captivated the nation and left many with more questions than answers. Join us as we unravel the mystery surrounding Kaylee's disappearance, her mother's dubious behavior, and the controversial trial that followed. This is the case of Caylee Anthony. Caylee Marie Anthony was a bright, beautiful 3-year-old girl living with her mother, Caylee Anthony, and her grandparents, George and Cindy Anthony, in Orlando, Florida. She was the apple of her grandparents' eyes, always smiling and full of life. Kaylee's infectious laughter and playful nature filled the Anthony home with joy. She loved to sing, dance, and play with her toys, her innocence and charm endearing her to everyone who met her. However, in June 2008, Kaylee's bright light was tragically extinguished, leading to one of the most high-profile criminal cases in American history. On July 15, 2008, Cindy Anthony made a frantic 911 call, reporting her granddaughter Kaylee missing. The call was filled with panic and confusion, as Cindy revealed that she hadn't seen Kaylee for 31 days and that Casey's car smelled like a dead body had been inside. This shocking revelation set off a chain of events that would uncover a web of lies, deceit, and a family's desperate search for the truth. Caylee Anthony's behavior during the initial investigation raised immediate red flags. Despite her daughter's disappearance, Caylee appeared calm and indifferent. She spun a series of elaborate lies, including a story about a nanny named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, who she claimed had kidnapped Kaylee. This nanny, however, turned out to be a figment of Casey's imagination. The investigation revealed that Caylee had fabricated numerous stories about her job, friends, and even her own whereabouts during the crucial days following Kaylee's disappearance. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered that Caylee had been living a carefree life during the month her daughter was missing, partying with friends and participating in a hot body contest. Photos and videos surfaced of Caylee dancing at clubs and socializing with friends, showing no signs of distress or concern over her missing child. Her lack of concern and contradictory statements led authorities to suspect foul play. Detectives found themselves tangled in a web of Caylee's lies, trying to piece together the truth from the fiction she wove so convincingly. The more they uncovered about Caylee's actions and deceit, the more suspicious her behavior appeared. The search for Kaylee was extensive and heart-wrenching. Volunteers scoured the area and the media covered the case extensively, hoping for a miracle. The community came together, holding vigils and distributing flyers, desperate to find the missing child. Search parties combed through woods, fields, and waterways, while law enforcement followed every lead, no matter how small. The sense of urgency was palpable, with everyone hoping for a safe return. But as days turned into weeks, hope began to fade. On December 11, 2008, the remains of a young child were discovered in a wooded area near the Anthony home. The remains were soon identified as those of Caylee Anthony, her tiny body wrapped in a blanket, hidden in a laundry bag. The discovery of Kaylee's remains brought a mixture of relief and sorrow. The community that had rallied around the search was devastated by the tragic confirmation of her death. The case took on a new urgency as investigators shifted their focus to finding out how Kaylee died and who was responsible. The forensic evidence collected from the scene, including the blanket and laundry bag, became crucial in piecing together the final moments of Kaylee's life. Caylee Anthony was charged with first-degree murder, and her trial began in May 2011. The prosecution painted a damning picture, alleging that Caylee had intentionally killed Kaylee using chloroform and duct tape, motivated by a desire to live a child-free life. They presented evidence of internet searches for chloroform and neck-breaking on the Anthony family computer, as well as the presence of chloroform in Caylee's car trunk. The prosecution argued that Caylee saw Kaylee as an obstacle to her carefree lifestyle, and her actions were premeditated and cold-hearted. Testimonies from Kaylee's former friends and acquaintances painted a picture of a young woman who was more concerned with partying and living a carefree life than with her daughter's well-being. The defense, however, presented an alternative theory. They claimed that Kaylee had accidentally drowned in the family pool and that Casey's father, George Anthony, had helped cover up the accident. They argued that Casey's erratic behavior and lies were the result of years of sexual abuse by her father, a claim George vehemently denied. The defense's strategy relied heavily on shifting the blame away from Casey and creating reasonable doubt about the circumstances of Kaylee's death. They introduced experts to dispute the prosecution's evidence and highlighted the lack of direct physical evidence linking Casey to the crime. The trial captivated the nation, with millions watching as dramatic testimony and emotional outbursts played out in the courtroom. Witnesses included family members, friends, and forensic experts who provided conflicting accounts and interpretations of the evidence. The defense's strategy focused on creating reasonable doubt, suggesting that the evidence was circumstantial and that there was no direct proof that Casey had killed her daughter. The trial became a media spectacle, with every detail scrutinized and debated by the public and legal analysts. High-profile legal experts and commentators weighed in on the proceedings, dissecting each day's developments and offering their opinions on the possible outcomes. The public was deeply divided over the case. Many believed that Caylee Anthony was guilty and that her carefree lifestyle during Kaylee's disappearance was indicative of a lack of remorse. The media coverage often portrayed Kaylee as a party girl who showed no concern for her missing daughter. Protests and rallies were held outside the courthouse, with people demanding justice for Kaylee. Others were swayed by the defense's arguments and the lack of concrete evidence directly linking Casey to the murder. The case sparked intense debates about the justice system, the role of media in high-profile cases, and the challenges of prosecuting circumstantial evidence. On July 5, 2011, the jury delivered a verdict that shocked the nation. Caylee Anthony was found not guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and aggravated manslaughter of a child. She was only convicted of 4 misdemeanor counts of providing false information to law enforcement. Casey was released shortly thereafter, having already served time in jail awaiting trial. The verdict sparked outrage and disbelief across the country. Many felt that justice had not been served for little Kaylee. Protests erupted outside the courthouse, and the case remained a topic of heated discussion for years to come. The public's reaction to the verdict was visceral and immediate. Social media platforms were flooded with posts expressing shock, anger, and confusion. Legal experts took to news channels to explain the jury's decision, while many in the public struggled to understand how Casey could be acquitted of the most serious charges. The case became a touchstone in discussions about the effectiveness of the legal system and the nature of reasonable doubt. In the years following the trial, Caylee Anthony has largely remained out of the public eye, occasionally surfacing in interviews and media reports. She continues to maintain her innocence and lives a reclusive life in Florida. The case of Caylee Anthony remains one of the most controversial and polarizing criminal cases in recent history, a tragic reminder of a young life lost and the complexities of seeking justice. The aftermath of the trial saw a flurry of books, documentaries, and TV specials attempting to dissect the case from every possible angle. Legal experts and analysts continued to debate the merits of the prosecution and defense strategies, while the public's fascination with the case endured. Kaylee's death and the subsequent trial also led to discussions about child protection laws and the responsibilities of parents and caregivers in ensuring the safety of their children. Casey's life after the trial has been marked by attempts to rebuild and avoid the public eye. She has faced numerous legal battles, including defamation lawsuits and financial struggles. Her relationship with her family remains strained, with her parents occasionally speaking out in interviews about their continued grief over Kaylee's death. Casey's attempts to move on have been met with public scrutiny and occasional media coverage, keeping the case in the public consciousness. The story of Caylee Anthony is a heartbreaking tale of innocence lost and unanswered questions. As we reflect on this case, let us remember Kaylee and strive for a world where every child is safe and cherished. Thank you for joining us today Please like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth true crime stories and updates.